Hello, dark readers, and welcome to the dark side of the library. This is not a podcast episode. We are live today, and we are on Amazon Live. Hold on a second. I should have had water before I pressed the live button. Why do I do this? We're going to wait for our Amazon audience to show up here, and then we'll get started with all the books. But first and foremost, I want to mention we have here in the comment section all of these books you can find on our Amazon Live channel. Oh, I hope I didn't post too many things. I might have. So you can find all of these things on our Amazon Live channel, which is amazon.com/live/dark side of the library. Or I posted on our chat links here, our storefront, and you can find our live stream items that are going to be listed here today. So you can kind of look through them, see all the book covers and whatnot, and let us know what you think. Today on our live stream, we are going to be chatting about different, mostly comic books. I just ended up finding a ton of comic books that I wanted to share with you today, and I'm kind of in a comic mood. It's Monday, and it's rainy. It was a sunny weekend. I was like, it's a perfect reading day, but mostly a comic reading day. So we've got a few of those. I do have a few actual novel or books. I have anthologies. I do have one kid's book somewhere. Most of these are for adults, and we do have one art coffee table book. First and foremost, at the very beginning of our little carousel on our Amazon Live channel, I do have a couple tech things listed there. So I have my Elgato Face Cam, my Logitech Blue Yeti as well. And lastly, my two ring lights that I have are different 10-inch ring lights where you can use your phone. So if you are interested in any of those, make sure to give me a comment. I'm happy to answer questions about all the tech stuff, but that's not why you're here. You're here for comics. So the first one I want to share with you today, and I should have grabbed not photos. I forgot. There are a few in here that I have audiobooks for that I didn't get the covers. But I'll share them anyway. The first one I want to mention is Tombs. So I've been rereading Tombs by Junji Ito. This is my favorite manga not my most favorite one he's done. I take that back. This is my favorite anthology he's done. I haven't read them all though, admittedly, so I could be just getting ahead of myself. Let's look through this together. This one's really fun because there's so many different stories here for all kinds of horror readers. So some people might really like body horror. Some people want spooky houses, or some people want serial killer. Everybody's got their own thing. This has almost everything, and it's all surreal and fun. Here's our table of contents. We have Clubhouse, Slug Girl, Tombs, of course, The Window Next Door, etc., etc. Some of these are actually in the Netflix show, the latest Junji Ito series that he did. It's not my favorite. For some reason, it's just better in comic form. I love the art. It's fantastic. And it is really spooky. There's a ton of spooky material in here. He just does a really good job with facial expressions, creepy houses and architecture, and weird, sinister monsters as well. And just the story. I don't know. The stories are just wild most of the time. I'll share with you some of my favorites. So be aware some of these images are more disturbing. They are still Amazon appropriate. So Slug Girl is one of my favorite ones from the Junji Ito series. She's hilarious. So her tongue becomes a slug. It's so gross. It's disgusting. So this story is one that is near and dear to my heart. It's just disgusting. I don't know. It's so simple, the concept of Slug Girl, but it's just so visceral in my brain. I'm like thinking about the whole process, and it's horrible. It's really horrible. So some other favorites I have, and this one's actually in the series as well. Let me try to find the title here. So sorry. So this one's like The Train Tunnel. This one is actually on the Netflix show, and I watched it, and it's fine. For some reason, it feels more action-packed in the manga for me. It's really fun though. So this one's a really interesting one, kind of a ghost story, train, tunnel thing. So anyway, this is 33% off right now on Amazon. So 1681. Pretty long graphic novel. And again, I like to reread it. There's I think 11 different short stories here. The last one that I don't know why this is one of my favorites, because this is a metaphor that just slaps you in the face about gossip. And it's our character. You would think the main character is towards the beginning. It's actually not. So the character in this that they focus on is the person, and I don't know, you guys might know a person like this, but the person who just loves everybody's gossip and they love to stir the pot. And sometimes, we all love them, but then they never want to dish out their own dirt, right? They're the ones that are like, oh, tell me more. So this story is about these floaters that are everybody's secrets. And there's this guy who likes to collect them all. And eventually it bites him in the butt. So it's one of my favorite stories. It's not super scary, but it's kind of a fun metaphor about if you're a gossip queen or if you love that stuff, just be careful. Because your dirt might spill out into the world as well. So do what you will with all the secrets of people. But anyway, so this is a Junji Ito awesome anthology that I love. Hi, Pirate Queen over on YouTube. Nice to see you. It's been a while, I think. It's probably been a couple months since I've actually been able to line up with you live. Anyway, check out Tombs. Awesome Junji Ito anthology. It's one of my favorites. I do have, let's see. So I have Mimi's Tales of Terror here. I have Censor. And I think that's all I have for Junji Ito. I'm sad to say, so I really need to get his like big three. So Uzumaki and Tomie and, I can never remember. Oh, it's even the one I love so much. Anyway, I don't have the big three right now because I'm waiting to get like a big box set. Like I just want a really good Junji Ito box set. Okay, so anyway, we're going to move on to another book real fast. So just it's springtime. So I wanted to mention Annihilation. If you haven't read this yet, this is by Jeff Vandermeer. This is a plant horror. So sorry, a little spoiler-y, but not too much. So this is a great springtime, summertime read. It's really fun. We have 4 characters in here. They're nameless. They go off into this place. There's the anthropologist, the psychologist, the surveyor, and the biologist. Those are their names. So you go through this and it gets creepy and sinister. They're trying to figure out why these groups of people have been dying in this location, and they keep sending out groups of people there, and they're there to investigate this area. This is a really great book. It's very different than the movie. If you've seen the Annihilation movie, I think it's Natalie Portman's in it, right? Anyway, different, but like, I don't know, it's still kind of a good guilty pleasure movie. It's got similar vibes, but if you're looking for something that's like springtime spooky, Annihilation's a really, really good book. It's not a long read. I devoured this book, and yes, I've read it numerous times. That's why my pages look so horrible. Anyway, Pirate Queen, you said you just bought Tomie. Awesome. Let me know what you think of that, because Tomie was one that I love Tomie just because it's like one of those what do they call it? The bad girl gets the revenge, or girls getting revenge. I don't know. It's hilarious. It cracks me up. Anyway, so Annihilation is also a really good book. This is 37% off, so it's $11.29. This came out a while ago, but it's a really good springtime spooky read. The next book thing that I'd like to bring to your attention. So I don't have the photo here for my YouTube viewers / Facebook viewers here, but it's called Human Sacrifices. It is a really good anthology by a Latin American author, and they talk about some of the social horrors of the world, and there's a supernatural twist in there. It's a really, really good anthology. This one I did the audiobook for, and I just devoured it. It was only 4 hours long. Super easy afternoon read, but it's super disturbing. Tons of different stories in there that represent like BIPOC women specifically, but there's a lot of relatable stuff in there, lots of body horror, but lots of stuff that's actually really real, like just so sinister. I just very much recommend it. So I'm sorry I don't have the physical copy here so you can see it, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it's a great book if you're looking for something like that. This is $14.50 right now on Amazon. I highly recommend it. So good. The next one I wanted to bring to your attention today. Let's find another graphic novel. I'm excited for this because I usually read The Sandman every other year. I tend to I have like almost all of them, not every single one, but most of them. So Nightmare Country, I think came out last year, but I never got my hands on it. It's just been so busy for all of us. So I'm super pumped to read this. I have not. This is the story about the Corinthian dreams, biggest nightmare he's ever created. So now the Corinthian has to go and hunt down the next or another scary, spooky monster nightmare who Dream didn't create. But the Corinthian is the only person who could possibly like keep up with this other nightmare. So I haven't read it yet, but I love Maria Levitt for like her art. So good. And of course, like it's just so good, so bright, so disturbing. So this one right now on Amazon is 41% off. I cannot wait to have this in my Sandman arsenal because I always read it and like I can't wait for summertime. I just want to sit out on my deck and then read all of the Sandman in, with all the bees buzzing and having it be fun and summery. So I'm really pumped about this one. And adding this to my collection, it is wildly disturbing. The Corinthian also is like, he holds a very special place in my heart personally because he's a really dynamic villain. Like there's times where I feel for him, like an immense empathy, sympathy. Sometimes I love him. Sometimes he cracks me up, but then sometimes I'm like, he's horrible. He's disgusting. But anyway, so I'm excited. This is very disturbing already. Corinthian is also just an iconic villain. I mean, in general, he's got distinct features and he's just like very interesting, just a really, really interesting character. So this is Sandman, the Nightmare Country by James Tynion IV, continuing on the saga of like the Sandman universe. We do have some of our endless in here. I did see Death. I do believe, of course, there's going to be Dream in here, but oh man, look at that beautiful illustration. Stunning. Anyway, so definitely check this out. This is one of those comics, if you've never read The Sandman before, this would be a really good introductory comic, I've heard. So it's like, hey, let's introduce you to the world of Sandman. That's kind of how The Sandman is a little bit. Like you can kind of pop in when you want to. There is a chronological order to some of the older ones, but this one you can just go right ahead in, and it's spooky. So check this one out. All right, so the next one I want to share with you, this one is for mid-grade readers, not just adults, but I have it because it's a great collector item, and I have to find it. Here it is. I can never do this properly. So this one, oh no. This one is Pan's Labyrinth. This is by Cornelia Funk and obviously Guillermo del Toro with beautiful illustrations throughout. I highly recommend this one. Oh, hi, Sean Jones over on Amazon. Thank you for tuning in. No tarot cards today. We're going for books. Speaking of books, I'm doing a little segue here before we continue on our Pan's Labyrinth adventure. If you do like dark reads, make sure to tune in to our podcast, which is at Dark Side of the Library. You can find that over on YouTube or over on Facebook or darksideofthelibrary.com. And if you do like dark books and you want to keep up with the times, we do a ton of, why can't I word today? We collect all of the books that are coming out every single month and we present them to you in case you are also somebody that's really into horror books. We've got a ton of those for you. So we curate books. If that's something of interest to you, make sure to give us a follow. We'd love that. And thank you for all of the people that have already been following us. You guys are awesome. You guys make me happy. All right, so let's continue with Pan's Labyrinth here. So Pan's Labyrinth, this does follow the movie very closely. So, and this one is a really good gift. Personally, I got it as a gift. I love the illustrations on the side. So they don't really change. They're the same illustration, but it's really beautiful. And I think it's the beginning of every chapter, maybe not every chapter, but there are little, I guess, event stamps or event illustrations that kind of pop up throughout the book too. So super beautiful. All done, I believe it looks like pencil illustrations. Really, I mean, it's just so cool. So this is a great, if you've watched the movie enough times but you like the story, they just have done a really good job making this feel like a fairy tale, which is exactly what Pan's Labyrinth is a very dark, spooky, more contemporary fairy tale. So I personally love this. If you are looking for a really special gift for anybody that loves Pan's Labyrinth or scary books, this would be a really cool thing to consider because it's kind of a collector. It's got this shiny blue cover here and the illustrations are just so beautiful everywhere. I highly recommend this one. It's only $14.69 today. So it's 27% off today. Highly recommend. I know the Pirate Queen over on YouTube was saying that you're late to manga. So I want to bring this to your attention because this is such a good one to read if you like dark fantasy, and you've probably heard of it if you're kind of dabbling into manga, but it is Berserk. So this one is 43% off. I have to say I'm a little pissed. I spent $50 on this thing, but totally well spent. So right now it's $28.48. This is a deal. This is massive. So this is a collection, I believe, of volumes 1 through 3 of Berserk. So we're following our awesome swordsman Guts as he adventures through to kill demons, essentially. This is a fantastic manga. If you've never read Berserk before, the art itself is stunning. Let me get some good detailed art here. I mean, Kentaro Miura is amazing, and rest in peace, Kentaro, but like fantastic fantasy manga. And if you've ever played Elden Ring, the video game, it's got similar vibes to it. Like there's kind of like this religious undertone throughout the graphic novel and some really interesting imagery throughout. And demons are really, really fun in an evil way, obviously, but he's got a really fantastic idea of what like demons are like, what that world would be like. And not only that, just I think Guts is a fantastic protagonist because he goes through a lot of trauma and he's got a lot of anger, bouts of depression. This graphic novel has been really helpful for me through some dark times just because Guts is such a relatable person. He's a flawed, amazing human. And I love that we get this really dynamic character to follow, and he's not perfect, but he's still fantastic. So I just really recommend this. So I know Pirate Queen was talking about how they're late to manga. I've never said manga. Anyway, so this is one I do recommend. And if you don't want to get the deluxe version, I totally get it. Start with the smaller one, so volume 1, which I haven't listed, but if you do go on our Amazon Live carousel, you can click through and find it pretty easily, or just type in Berserk. Super good. It's just an FYI. There's a ton of trigger warnings in this book. It goes through every trigger warning I think that you could possibly think of that Berserk actually does talk about or illustrate. So just be careful for those trigger warnings, but it is a really good manga. And I think they're about done. I really need to catch up. Berserk has been going on since like 1989 or something, maybe even earlier. I think I'm wrong. I think it's earlier than 1989. Anyway, so check that one out. Yes, Sean, words be tough at times for me all the time. Words are hard. Okay, so the next one I want to share is not a graphic novel. This is my coffee table book. And I can only show so much because I think it's a little morbid for Amazon Live. On YouTube, we would have been fine. But Amazon Live, no, we can't. It's called Sacred Decay. I'm an artist and I love Lauren Marks a lot. This is a beautiful book about life in death or vice versa. It's really cool, the concept. This is 30% off. I like supporting smaller artists as well. Most of her stuff, I think, is mixed media, but she does post. I can't show everything, so I have to be careful here. This one's probably fine. So this one is pen, ink, gel pen, and colored pencil and paper. I don't know where I'm getting my accent from. Gel pen. I haven't even watched anything with an accent lately. Anyway, so it does list all of the mediums she uses for every single piece here. And the original size of this piece was a 24 by 18. So that's kind of cool if you are an art nerd and you want some of that information. But let me see if I can find some colored illustrations here. Here's some more illustrations. All of them have flora, fauna, and they're just really unique and beautiful. They deal with it's about decay. So the body decaying and just having really interesting imagery for what that looks like. So I recommend this if you like really unique art. This one might be a little too much. Here we go. This is all labeled with which years this was created. What years she did these illustrations. Sean is probably laughing at me if he's actually still tuned in, like, oh, Katie's in a mood today. Anyway, so everything's labeled here. The art is stunning. So not only do you get to see the artist's growth and how they've worked with their art and what they've developed over time, but yeah, this is just really cool. Here's one more. I just really recommend it. Supporting local artists, small artists, of course. Okay, one more. Here you go. So this is called Sacred Decay by Lauren Marks. You can follow them over on Instagram. I believe they have a website. I don't know if they have TikTok, but yeah, definitely give them like a follow if you like this kind of art. Super beautiful. Yeah, Sean is laughing at me because he's so nice to me. All right, so another, I like manga, so I do have quite a bit of manga, but here's kind of a great in-between. We have Night Eaters. So this is by the Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. This is a really good combo of, so Sana Takeda is a fantastic comic book illustrator, and Marjorie Liu, great writer. They've worked together on a previous comic series called Monstrous, which has won awards, and it's very good. I highly recommend it. It's kind of steampunk. It's really fun, though. This one is actually kind of a horror comedy. It's about two Chinese immigrant parents whose kids, who are twins, are trying to run a business. I think it's a smoothie business. I'm trying to remember. It's been a couple years since I actually picked this one up. I have to pick it up again. Anyway, so their kids just suck at running businesses. It's kind of like, it's a really interesting look into parents who have immigrated here and then their children and just the different lives that they've led and where they lead. So the parents have made a ton of sacrifices to immigrate to, I think they live in California in this book. And their kids are kind of squandering it and they're like, so it's funny in that regard. But the additional part is that across the street from where they live is this haunted house. And mom decides to investigate and to cleanse the land. And it ends up being this ridiculous adventure into the haunted house that the mom forces the kids to go through. It's hysterical. The kids are horrible at survival. They are not self-sufficient. This is a really great comic because it's just funny. It's gory, but the art style is really good. Sana Takeda has a really, really distinct art style. It's very manga-esque, but it's just really well done. I think she works with watercolor mostly, ink and watercolor. So this is volume 1 out of 4. I believe this is going to be a 4-part. It might be a trilogy. I'm trying to remember. So the second part of this comic series has come out already, but the first one is 80% off. So this one is only $2.99 right now. This is on a super sale. It is really, really good. I just really recommend it. And Sana Takeda and Marjorie Liu are award-winning comic book creators, and this is their new adventure together. And I just really like how authentic and fun and spooky this whole series is in the art style, and it's relatable too. It talks about deeper issues or just themes like immigration or like second generation families and that sort of thing. There's a lot of cool themes in here too, integrated with those horror elements. So check out Night Eaters. Plus, look at this cover. I mean, come on, Sana Takeda, stop it. Okay, so the next one I want to share with you too, we have, this one, The Department of Truth. So I have, I think, another comic. Maybe I don't. Sorry. Bear with me. Oh, yeah, this is James Tynion IV again. So James Tynion IV has done a ton of the Sandman series books, but the Nightmare Country that I just showed you, he's the main writer of that versus like Neil Gaiman was like the big writer for the main Sandman. Anyway, he's done a ton of other comics too called The Department of Truth. And he's done a whole bunch of other ones, but this is another one he's done. This is kind of more of a conspiracy theory, horror-esque comic. So not quite like the dreamy, weird, surreal world that Sandman is. This one's about the Department of Truth, which is basically, I haven't read this one quite yet. I have to. So it says Cole Turner has studied conspiracies all his life, from flat Earth to the assassination of JFK to modern day, but he isn't prepared to live in a world where collective belief can turn fringe theories into reality. That is a terrible secret revealed to Cole when he is inducted into the Department of Truth, which is a top secret branch of the American government that has been tasked for generations with making sure dangerous conspiracies don't gain a foothold in the real world. So it's like if social psychology became manifested in itself and became even worse than what it usually becomes. So if we all decided one day that this thing is a real thing, all of a sudden, if enough of us believed it, it would become a thing. So Yetis, or not Yetis, the Bigfoot, which is over here in the Seattle area. So let's look at the art here. This is who I'm trying to remember, the artist. I feel like the art is so familiar to me. It's Martin Simmons. I need to look him up after this live stream. But anyway, let's look at this together because the art in here is just phenomenal. I mean, it's out of this world. Really good, right? This is like every single panel is painted here. So it's definitely has an atmosphere. It's a little sinister. There is some weird stuff going on here. Interesting imagery for sure. And I love the use of color. I mean, it's just so good. It's really good. So if you are somebody, I love conspiracy theory stuff. This is why we have Dark Side of the Library, because Carrie and I love everything. So I love conspiracy theory. I love dystopian. So this is definitely up my alley, and I haven't read it yet, but there's a full, I think there's a full omnibus of the Department of Truth out already. This is just the first one that I wanted to bring to your attention in case you haven't read it yet. Maybe it's a reminder like, hey, I got to read it, So definitely check this out. This is only $9.69 today on Amazon. It's not it's not a lot. And this is really pretty, like so good. So check that out. Again, if you are not viewing us over on our Amazon Live channel, you can find the links posted in our description. We have a shop storefront on our Amazon Live channel that you can find the whole list of books that I'm actually reviewing over here today. All right, so the next one I want to share with you today, we are halfway through. This is a book. So I actually think that this book would be really fun to read during summertime. I don't know. There's something about reading like desert Southwest books that really kind of, it's probably because I live in Seattle where I'm like, ooh, it's sunshine. So Vampires of El Norte. This is by Isabel Cañas or Cañas. She also did another book that I actually have heard is scarier. And now The Hacienda. That's the book. Apparently that one is a little more spooky. This one kind of has a little bit of a romance vibe. I'm not going to lie. But the vampires in this book are really fun. They are very different than the vampires that I've read about recently. Like, it seems like every vampire is kind of the same. Vampire. Anyway, they all seem kind of the samesies, but these vampires are really unique and they are really sinister, really freaky. They could be scarier because they're focusing a little too much on the relationship here, but I'll read the sleeve here. I'll try to sum it up. We have 1840s Mexico. So during the American-Mexican tension here, it is about Nenya, who knows a thing or two about monsters, and her home has been threatened by tensions with Anglo settlers from the north and monsters simultaneously. So people are being drained of their blood nearby, and they're just being left for dead. So they're seeing all of these traces of bodies, and they think that it's the Anglo settlers, but it's definitely not human. So that sort of monster actually did attack Nenya, our main protagonist, 9 years ago. Nenya had a best friend at that period of time named Nestor, who ended up leaving after that whole event, thinking that Nenya had died and thinking that it was actually his fault. So anyway, she lives and she ends up becoming they call it I'm going to butcher this, a curandera, so like a healer. So she's still in her village helping people out. They're still dealing with like the people losing blood and draining blood sort of things, and she's being trained to help people. But she also at the same time her father doesn't want her to be this healer because he wants her to be married off. So this is where it gets a little too much in that romance. There's a lot going on in this book because they try to interweave like the Mexican-American conflict, the tensions with the Anglo settlers, the tensions within her village, and the tensions within her and her childhood friend and the vampires. So there is a lot going on here. So Nestor, her childhood friend, comes back into town. A conflict happens where she's out in battle. Her childhood friend also is out at this battle. They had to flee. They survived. So now they're kind of wandering around the desert by themselves and surrounded by the Anglo settlers and the vampires. So anyway, it's a really interesting book about vampires because they feel more like animals too versus more human. So the vampires have more like, animal qualities. I would definitely check this one out. It's really interesting. It was actually quite a fast read for me, but it isn't, I think it's over 400 pages long. No, it's not, Katie. It's about 400 pages long. Anyway, check out Vampires of El Norte. Thank you, Pirate Queen. Okay, Mexican witch is what? So a curandera is a Mexican witch. Interesting. The way that they spell it here, so I don't know if it's different. It's Curandera. So it feels like it's probably really similar. Anyway, check this one out, and also check out her previous book, The Hacienda. This is only $14.99. If you're looking for a haunted house vibe, The Hacienda is more up your alley. Okay, I need to drink a little bit of water, and then we'll keep going here. Okay, I have one kid's book on my list today that I just wanted to mention because it's so cute. I had it packed away because Halloween and Dia de Muertos isn't here until next year. But I found this in my little box and I was like, oh, mi ofrenda. So this is a search and find colors book. I know it's not super spooky, but it's for babies. So it says, is the red picture frame hanging on the wall? So it's cute because we have English and Spanish together. I really need to learn Spanish. So that's my goal. I'm going back to school, but I need to go back and also learn Spanish. There's a lot I want to do. Anyway, so it has both the English and Spanish translations here. So you can do both, which is great. Start the kids young so that they can learn multiple languages, because I think we all need to. And then it's also a color identifier, so you can like talk and be like, hey, which one's red? And then they could be like, oh, it's over here and the couch is red. So this is really, really fun and really cute and really interactive. So it says, can you look to see if the orange, oh no, I'm so sorry. Cempasúchil is planted in the garden. Does that mean, oh, is that marigolds? Is that what that is? It's really pretty. I like it. Here we are the yellow candles on the stand at the marketplace. Cute art. Really dig it. Really fun. Great for kiddos, especially if they're learning their colors and multiple languages. Start them young. And you get to learn the different traditions of Dia de Muertos as well. So like the sugar skulls, the different, obviously building your altar for your ancestors. It's just a really cool book that talks about so many different things. And it's all packed in this tiny little board book. So cute. Anyway, this is $9.99. It's Mi Ofrenda. This is the Search and Find Colors by Little Libros. There's actually a couple of these different kinds. I think there's a number one, an expressions one. So just check these out. They're really fun if you've got a little one and you want to like introduce them to some spooky vibes. Not super heavy on the spooky factor, of course. All right, so the next one I want to share with you today is Neil Gaiman's Snow Glass. And where are you? Oh, apples. So this one I can't show a ton of on Amazon Live because there is some nudity in here and there is some illustrations of violence. So I will have to filter this out a little bit. But this is a retelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And one thing that's really, really fun. Oh, here we go. Pirate Queen says, curandero is claimed to administer shamanistic and spiritistic remedies for mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual illnesses. Thank you. Yes, that is really okay. Perfect. That is what she is in Vampires of El Norte. I don't know why my brain just died. All right, so I actually did look at Neil Gaiman's masterclass, and if you have masterclass, it's really fun, but you can check out Neil Gaiman's masterclass for writing. He actually mentions the idea behind this particular story, which is when we try to craft a story, or even when we're trying to craft like something that's based off of something else, thinking a little outside of the box. So he literally took like Rose's lips as red as rose, or red as blood, or something like that. Hair as black as night, skin as fair as snow. And he was like, what would that be? Oh, Snow White could be a vampire. So that was a really fun concept that he came up with. And this is the story that is his version of Snow White. So, and that basically like the evil queen isn't actually evil. She is actually trying to protect the realm from this vampire that is Snow White. So it's actually kind of brilliant. Anyway, Here we have some illustrations. So I can't, again, show you everything, but I just want to show you how beautiful these are and why you should get this, because it's so good. It's on my bookshelf just so I can like read it. It's so short, but it's so much fun. It's really cool. So let me find some more illustrations here that I think I can share. Here we go. There's our beautiful Snow White in all of her glory. We have the seven dwarf. Do we have the seven dwarfs? I can't remember. And then let's look at some more illustrations here. I have to see. Nope. Cannot. I think I can. We have the huntsman who is lured by Snow White, of course, but there's a beautiful illustration. I mean, this is just a really cool concept, the whole story. Here's one more. So if you collect fairy tales, or if you like Neil Gaiman, of course, or if you just want, I guess, like, it's basically taking Grimm's fairy tales and elevating it. It's even more spooky because Snow White is our vampire. Definitely check out Snow Glass Apples by Colleen Doran and Neil Gaiman. It's really fun, and it's just a really good collector item. Personally, I have a lot of Neil Gaiman's stuff because I just love his stories. So this one I had to have myself. All right, so the next one, Sean, we have one or a tarot card deck on this list. Just one. That's all I'm doing. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because I haven't shared this one in a while, and I wanted to give you guys a book break. Let's look at some tarot cards. We have Diablo. If you like Diablo, this would be a really fun tarot card deck to have on hand. This does pull from the latest game mostly. Here is our guidebook. It comes with a guidebook, which is cool. So this is 10% off right now. So $26.89. I like how they've done this one because you get every single one gets a photo, and we get an upright and reversal reading. I just got to make sure. Some of these cards are pretty brutal because it's Diablo. So we have upright and reversed readings for both of these. And I just like the structure of this. I think everybody should do this structure for some reason. It's kind of nice to see. Here is what the back of the cards look like. Got a little bit of a shine here, so you get a little bit of a reflect. These are pretty huge. The cards themselves are a little difficult to shuffle, but what would be cool is to actually frame some of the art, because the art is fantastic. So let me share that with you. We have shiny red foil here on the side. It says Four of Pentacles in the iconic Diablo font, and some imagery. Everything is red, black, gray, white. There's no other colors. We have the Three of Pentacles. Let me find some other ones in the center. We have the Five of Pentacles. Of course, I just decided to grab more pentacles. I think everything is the same, like traditional suits. Oops. And the traditional major arcana as well. We have the Hanged Man. Got to make sure to flip that. Here we have the Ace of Swords. Really cool art style. Like, really digging it. Next, we have the Three of Wands. So if you're somebody that loves the Diablo franchise, this might be a really cool thing to get for yourself. Or if you do know somebody that does love Diablo, again, this would be a really great gift. Because if like the combination of oracle cards or tarot cards and pop culture is a lot of fun. Judgment. The King of Cups. I'll do a few more of these, and then we'll move on to our other books here, because I am running out of time. We have Four of Cups, and then one more, the Sun. Very cool. So check those out if you do like tarot cards. I personally really like this deck. I kind of want to frame the art personally. I just think it'd be more fun because they're just so stunning. So this is the Diablo tarot card deck. All right, next on our list today, speaking of witches, real quick, This one's 10% off. I actually had my therapist recommend this one to me, so I'm kind of excited about it. I've read a little bit. This is called Heal the Witch Wound. So this one's a little different because it's like a little self-help, but not entirely. So reclaim your magic and step into your power. The very beginning of the book itself, it talks about the witch trials and how it actually has affected people and the practice of magic. So this is our only nonfiction book that I have on our list today. So here we have Women in the Middle Ages, the peak of the witch trials, both in the UK and in the US. Wounds of the past and how that actually reflects into your witch wound. So they talk about symptoms of the witch wound. Here, I'll see if I can show you which ones they have. Like hiding in your spiritual broom closet is one. You water down your magic, fear of sharing your gift, or belief that magic is dangerous, downplaying your practice to others, hiding your altar, spiritual tools, jewelry, etc. Another one is discomfort about charging money for your spiritual services and goods. That was me. So lots of cool stuff here. And then how to make yourself, I guess, reclaim that magic back. So cleansing energetic space, becoming the hero of your own story, ancestral healing. So if you are interested in this book, this is actually cool. And it has a lot of really interesting insights just on a psychological level too, like some of the cultural instances or events that we've had throughout history, like for instance the witch trials, how that does reflect in how we treat other people, like women, single women with wild hair, and we're always thought of as witches, but that might not be the case, and that could be like a whole line of cultural events that had happened that has influenced our thoughts about certain kinds of people. So check this one out. This is a really fun one if you're a witch, not a witch. Heal the Witch Wound. All right, let's go into some fun books that are fictional now. We have, getting there, I promise, Mimi's Tales of Terror. I haven't actually read this yet. So Junji Ito illustrated these stories, but the original story is by Hirokatsu Kahara and Ichiro Nakayama. It says, I think, I might have misread this, that they made this a game, which would be cool. So there's 9 stories. It's an anthology. It's about Mimi and her boyfriend that they're like the Scooby Gang, and they run into all of these weird happenings and they go and investigate it together. That's what I've been told. So I haven't read it yet, but you can see this is definitely Junji Ito, like awesome illustrations, very visceral, and just the expressions are big and spooky. I'm sure it's surreal because it's Junji Ito again. So if you're looking for something a little different, this isn't written by Junji Ito, but it's illustrated by. I kind of love seeing his interpretation of other people's stories. That's also a really fun thing. Check this one out. This is really cool. And I kind of want to see if it says it was adapted into a manga by horror genius Junji Ito. And these are a collection of famed urban legends. So that is really cool. I love urban legends. So check this one out. This is Mimi's Tales of Terror. It's really cool, and the illustrations are really, really awesome. Yeah, pretty much in love with it. So moving on, I think we have one more Junji Ito that I have to share too before we go on to some other books. Censor. And I have to drink some water, so pause real fast. Okay, so Censor, super fun Junji Ito story as well. I like the shine. Okay, so what it says here. We have a woman walks alone at the foot of Mount Sengoku. A man appears saying he's been waiting for her and invites her to a nearby village. Surprisingly, the village is covered in hair-like volcanic glass fibers, all shining bright like gold. That night, as the villagers gaze up at the starry sky, countless unidentified flying objects come raining down on them. The opening act for the terror about to occur. So I personally, and this is just, I'm giving you a little insight about myself. Hair, I hate hair. I hate hair so much. So like this whole thing, I don't know why I do this to myself. I'm like, ooh, creepy hair like follicles everywhere. I'm going to hate it. So let's buy it. Let's buy the thing so I can be uncomfortable. I don't know what's going on with my brain. Anyway, so interesting story. I would say it's not my like I love Junji Ito, so it's good, but it's not my favorite thing he's written. But it's just great if you're just trying to collect his stuff. The art though, I would say is fantastic, like really wildly good. I think it's one of his later comics that he's done, so it makes sense. It's fun to see the growth that Junji Ito has made. Like, so Tomie is a perfect example of like this anthology of short stories that he published. And you can see kind of in the beginning, like the art's fine, it's good, but like towards the end, it's like, wow, that is some good stuff. So I like seeing the progression of Junji's work through his many, many stories. And this one just has probably some of the best, some of the great art style. I don't know. It's just really good. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, check this one out. This is Censor. It's a wild, wild story. It's fun. And again, just one that a lot of people don't really think about when they're exploring some of Junji Ito's work. So that one right now on Amazon is $14.11. Hold on a second. Sean Jones says, it might not be the case, but it is the case. What's the case? What did I say? I can't even remember anymore. Anyway, so moving on to our next thing. I think we finished all of my Junji Ito things, but I do have 2 other mangas to go through. I am a nerd. Anyway, Happiness. This one I haven't read yet, but I've actually heard this one is a really I don't know why I haven't heard of this one yet, but this is by Shuzu Oshimi, the creators of Flowers of Evil, which apparently is very, very good. Happiness isn't his like top piece of work, but because Flowers of Evil, I think, is like the pinnacle of his work so far, but Happiness is good. So from what I've read, this is a vampire story. This apparently is similar to Tokyo Ghoul, but better in that it didn't devolve into some weirdness. So here we have nothing interesting is happening in Makoto Okazaki's first year of high school. His life is a series of quiet humiliations, low-grade bullies, unreliable friends, and the constant frustration of his adolescent lust. But one night, a pale, thin girl knocks him to the ground in an alley and offers him a choice. Now, everything is different. Daylight is searingly bright. Food tastes awful, and worse than anything is the terrible consuming thirst. The tiny shame of his old life has been replaced by 2 towering horrors. The truth of what will slake his awful craving and high school itself. So this one's good because women are witches. Oh, Sean said, women are witches. I always go for low-hanging fruit. Excuse me. I do too. I mean, if it's there, it's there, right? Okay, so this one was a planned series. So that's something I do enjoy, is when we have a completed story and then it's written out and they're not trying to pull and grab new things for more people to like consume the product. The story is complete and it's finished and it's good. There's a lot of really good themes in here they talk about things like depression, mortality. There's a lot of really interesting themes in this particular manga. Even though it's got like that high school vibe in the background, it fades away and it becomes a more serious and thoughtful manga that talks about vampires, but just like the more important themes about life and loss. So definitely check out Happiness if you are somebody that likes vampire graphic novels, that sort of thing, but you're looking for something a little different. I have not heard of this one before, so I don't think it's as common, and it's not necessarily on a ton of people's purview, and I just really wanted to spotlight it because I think it's really good. Let's look at the inside real fast. Of course, I get the one with like a nosebleed. Anyway, the art's great. perfect manga style. I mean, it's really, really fun. The expressions are great as well. I like that the characters all have very different faces. So sometimes we we get into like same face syndrome a little bit, but with this one you can tell like every character has like a very distinct face and structure. So check out Happiness. It's a really good manga in general. Okay, so the other one I wanted to point out is one that I have read. It's a classic in my world. It is Angel Sanctuary. Let me find it in my list of books. Hold on. This one's old, I admit. If you like pretty manga, this is it. There's demons and angels. They're at war with each other. The angels aren't very good, though. We have our main character, Setsuna, who is going after his sister, and they have a weird relationship together, but it's not their fault, allegedly. Anyway, the art is really good. The characters are super beautiful, and the detail is amazing as far as the art is concerned. The story is interesting. I think I learned a lot more about just like the angel hierarchy in this manga than I ever have in anything. I just because like I just knew more about like who the archangels were and what their roles were, the higher up angels, and how sinister angels could actually be. So this was my introduction to creepy angels, and I highly recommend it. It is an older manga series. There is an animated film, or no, I think it's technically I think it's an animated series, but it's only like 4 episodes. They didn't take off as much as they should have. But they have, I think the total volumes is around, I want to say 30 volumes of Angel Sanctuary. Anyway, good manga. I highly recommend it, especially if you get over the weird brother-sister thing. It explains itself later. But anyway, this one is $6.49 right now. Yeah, just really cool. I have, I think, volumes 1 through 18. I've been waiting to buy more, but I'm so scared we won't get Angel Sanctuary in the future. So I should probably be a little more proactive. Anyway, this is by Kaori Yuki. She's awesome. Really fantastic art. I love her art style in general. Okay, so the next one I want to share with you is another graphic novel I actually read often. This is by Emily Carroll. It's Through the Woods. It's a story with 5. I think it's 5, or is it 6? 6 short stories. It's an anthology. If you like fairy tales, if you read fairy tales, Grimm's fairy tales, or oh man, I lost his name already. We did a whole podcast episode of the fairy books, the colored fairy books by, I feel like his name starts with an A. Carrie's gonna kill me. Anyway, there's a certain rhythm to how those stories are written. So when it's like Shakespeare, but not quite Shakespeare-y. Shakespeare's got it down. But like there's just a way and a flow with some of these stories, especially fairy tales. Emily Carroll has done a really good job with that same sort of like rhythm while you read this. And the fact that it's in a graphic novel form is even more entertaining. So it feels like, what's the best way to put this? Like a story for adults, but it almost has like a kid-like element in there. Just the way it's kind of nostalgic as far as like how kids' books are written, because they've got a rhythm to it too. But this is definitely adult themes and very spooky. So Emily Carroll's Through the Woods, 6 different freaky stories with different characters, different kinds of spooky stories. So we've got a creepy house. We have the creepy friend, like the friend who might be a demon / possessed kind of story. We have, the creepy relatives. So this is a really fun graphic novel to have. And I like reading a a story, and actually there have been I think there's 2 stories in here that I was like, I need to wait to go to sleep before I shut my eyes. My overactive imagination creates weird dreams for me, because that would not be a fun time. So this is a really fun, like a nighttime story. If you are brave, I really enjoy it. And something to mention too, with Through the Woods, Emily Carroll is publishing a brand new graphic novel about vampires. Apparently, this year might be vampire themed year. Anyway, she's got another graphic novel coming out that is solely about a vampire story. And then she did publish another graphic novel last year, I think late. And I have yet to pick it up, but she's got a website too. So definitely check her out. She has a ton of cool stuff on her website, all of the different art that she's done, the some of the other stories, because I believe she had a web comic or was starting one for a little bit. So if you're really interested in more contemporary folk tales, I recommend Emily Carroll and Through the Woods. She's a really great writer, and the way it's just, you want to keep reading it because you're just soaking it all up. It's just really good. Anyway, Through the Woods, it's 35% off, $11.63. It's really fun all year round, but again, I kind of like reading this in springtime. It's got some springtime vibes in here for sure. All right, so the next thing, and it might be my final book today that I want to bring to your attention, and I hope it added to my list. Gideon, did it not? I don't think it did. Well, shoot. Oh, here's one. My last one. Here's another one. Oh my gosh. Another one that I kind of want, I need to save for autumn. It's the Autumnal. This one's interesting. So this one's kind of a middle ground spooky book, but it's again like a plant horror graphic novel. So here we go. Actually, first, this is by, why am I losing my mind here? Okay. Anyway, this is by, Ed Sheehan, I believe. Anyway, I'll just show you the art here. Really beautiful, more colorful. It's about, okay, so we have, following the death of her estranged mother, Kat Somerville, and her daughter Sybil flee a difficult life in Chicago for the quaint and possibly deadly town of Comfort Notch. From New York Times. So Daniel Kraus is the author. We have Chris Sheehan, who did House of Slaughter. This is a haunting vision of America's prettiest autumn. So let's look at some of these illustrations. Look at how pretty it is. So this is our main protagonist here, and I believe her daughter. They run away together, away from her abusive husband. Oh, I hate centipedes. I'm okay with a lot of bugs, but centipedes really freak me out. Here we have some really spooky stuff. Oh, hey, Rome. Nice to see you. We have interesting kind of spooky characters in here as well. I have yet to read this, but I have heard some good stuff about this. And this is a single issue. So this is the full story, which is kind of nice. If you're not somebody that wants to get committed to like a giant comic book series where there's a ton of different novels out already, I absolutely understand. It can be very overwhelming. This is why I don't really read a ton of superhero stuff anymore. When I was a kid, I did, but oh no, I can't keep up with it. It's so much. But this is just a single graphic novel and a single story. It's a lot of fun. So if you like graphic novels and spooky stories and you just want something sweet, simple, and it is perfect for fall time, the Autumnal is totally a cool option. All right, so that is going to wrap up. I'm sorry, Rome. You caught me at my last part of my live stream, but it was really awesome that you stopped by. Thank you guys, the people that commented today. So Pirate Queen over on YouTube, you were awesome. And of course, Sean and Rome over here on Amazon Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's so nice and commenting. If you do like dark books, make sure to follow us on our socials. All of those are listed here at Dark Side of the Library. And of course, Amazon Live. We'd love to see you around. Comment. We do more than just books as well. We do Halloween stuff. gothic decorations, even springtime witchy stuff I've been trying to do, tarot cards, oracle decks, all kinds of stuff. So make sure to give us a follow if that's kind of your vibe as well. Thank you again, and we will see you on the next live stream. And hopefully that will be soon. Have a good Monday, everybody.